I'm Crypto Hulk. We got Caleb Brown here, and we have the CEO of Zebec. This is a special treat. I know a lot of you guys love Zebec, including myself. Some of you guys are really in deep into Zebec. Today we have some questions. We have the CEO here, and we got around 20 minutes or so. And you guys came up with the questions, so that's how we're going to kind of start. I'll probably have Jim ask the first question, but we have Simon here from Zebec, and what I think we'll do as far as introductions, hopefully if this works, I would like for the CEO to answer the questions and just kind of add stuff so it helps my viewers to understand who he is or what Zebec's trying to accomplish. Because there's people that want to take part in Zebec. We're pretty excited. We're watching the news. We're seeing Zebec linking up with these different companies, and we're seeing how the world's going to change. So, Jim, go ahead. Did you want to start off with a question?
Yeah, sure. And thank you so much, Simon, for having us on, and Hulk for having us on. But yeah, the first question really would just be around, I guess, what's the origin story of Zebec? You've been around for such a long time, or you've been a founder of the project. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how Zebec started, what you saw as a pain point in the market to start the project, and where you see the project going.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you both for having me here. Super excited to be on the show today. And yes, I'd love to get a little more color on the story of Zebec. We've been building the company now for nearly 5 years. And it really all started with us asking the question, why has payroll not changed materially in the past 70 years? Most of the world still gets paid every 2 weeks or even every month. And this comes down to the legacy banking system and the friction of payments that comes with it. Payroll is still trapped in this legacy system. It runs on ACH, it runs on Swift, there's intermediaries involved, it takes 3 to 5 days for a payment to clear, and of course it comes with hefty fees. Now you add in international employees, you add in contractor payments, it only gets more complex and slow. So by bringing payments on-chain and leveraging technologies like Zebec's real-time streaming engine, there is no material difference in getting paid wherever your employees are located, whether you want to pay them by the hour, by the minute, or even by the second. And that's where real-time payroll comes into the picture. Now, 5 years ago, nobody understood what we were doing. Nobody wanted to work with stablecoins. Fast forward to where we are today, we have the Genius Act as law in the US. We have the largest enterprises in the world at our doorstep, many of whom we're already onboarding or working with. So it's an incredibly exciting time with the company. I'm very excited to share some of our roadmap today on the show and where we see things going from here.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, Hulk, did you want to ask the next question? I think that's a good little summary of everything that Zebec's trying to achieve. Touched on the regulation side. I think, Hulk, you may have a question on that, or the community does.
Right. As blockchain payments get crowded, what's Zebec's edge over the next 5 years? What's genuinely defensible?
That's a great question. And I would go back to what I said earlier in the fact that we were the first to go to market with stablecoin payroll. And we're not just another company that's converting payroll funds into stablecoins. Rather, we're paying people via smart contracts, letting you get paid in real time. Our technology is patented. We've built a moat around regulation. We're one of the most licensed and regulated stablecoin payroll companies in the market today. And we have enterprise adoption with large companies already. We're ahead of many of our peers. And we work with all the large blockchains and networks, right? So we're not married to a specific blockchain. If an enterprise wants to work with Stellar, or they want to work with Solana, or they want to work with Ripple, Zebec is just the rails that moves the money.
Yeah, so I love that. And you've mentioned regulation a few times. There's sort of regulation with your partners and different chains of protocols, as you mentioned. But what have you found from, I guess, businesses or people that you're trying to sell in terms of adopting Zebec's technology? Have you found that they've been waiting for regulation to really put their money where their mouth is and start working with you? Have you found that there's been, hopefully we get the Clarity Act passing? Do you see that as a bit of like a foundational regulatory event that will help push things along with a lot of these businesses to actually take on a different payroll system? Like what have you found that connection with regulation and Zebec? And I'm sure it's gotten a lot better in terms of adoption or interest in adoption from a lot of these businesses.
Absolutely. I mean, compliance is not a constraint on our business. In fact, it's actually our moat. We view it as something that's actually helping bring real world treasuries and payments on chain as it helps build trust with the enterprises that we want to work with. The reason these enterprises can even work with Zebec is that we operate inside of regulated frameworks. We purchased a compliance company last year called GateNox. We built out a compliance team now led by industry veterans Wojtek Zakarski and Adrian McGraw. They lead our compliance business at Zebec. We have our MiCA certification in the EU. We have our SOC 2 around data privacy. We have our ISO. So these are all the requirements that you need if you want to work with the largest institutions in the world. It took us years to get here, but we're now in a place where our business is very much protected by this. Now I go back to the Genius Act, which of course passed last year, and that gave us the federal framework for payment stablecoins for the first time in the US. And now we have enterprise treasurers that are looking at regulated stablecoins and they're treating it in the same way that they would treat a money market fund. So the passage of the Genius Act really opened the floodgates for our business in terms of adoption and interest from real world businesses. And now I see Clarity Act as really the next leg of momentum that are going to take things further. And we're seeing greater confidence from businesses in stablecoins and more trust in working with infrastructure providers like Zebec, which maybe 2 or 3 years ago were truly operating in a gray zone, and now we're operating within a regulated framework.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So it's essentially the Genius Act was probably a bigger unlock for Zebec than, I mean, the Clarity Act I'm sure will be great, but Genius Act was a really big unlock for you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, both of them are key milestones for the business.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a question about Canton Network. The question here is, do you have any kind of relationship with Canton integration of any sort? Yeah, could you please explain any of that or any kind of partnerships or?
I'm not sure how much I can say right now publicly, but I will say that we have built a card solution. So we're the white label card provider for the first neobank on Canton. That's a company called Lattice. They went to Zebec because Zebec was able to integrate Canton and build them a compliant MasterCard product that sits within their banking app. Separate to that, we are also currently in talks with Canton Foundation to build native payroll streaming on Canton. Now, this is still a relatively early stage, but if this comes to fruition, this would be a major enterprise unlock for us, as there's an enormous amount of companies right now that are looking to work with or working with Canton. And if they can also run payroll on Zebec rails, we would see an enormous growth in our volume.
That is very cool. All right. Nice.
Hulk loves the connection between projects.
I like that. What I do all the time is I have different cryptos on my program, and I'll spend sometimes 2 hours trying to find connections and what company's working with who and why. You might see a crypto with 6 other projects working with them to accomplish. I tell the people who watch my program, all really good cryptos work together. So it's not like, which should I get, this one or that one? It's like, no, I might do a show and have 3, 4 cryptos, sometimes 5 in there. They all have different use cases, and they might be working with some of the biggest companies in the world. So I tell people it's not like having a pissing contest. It's you get these cryptos, I buy them myself. I'm not a financial advisor, obviously, but I like to get a portion ownership of cryptos that make a change. I like to see a Canton network with its 600 partners and how it's a more advanced, let's say, R3 Corda, where now I'm just guessing at this, but maybe their Canton's taken away some of the work of XDC. You're still going to have your trade finance, but Canton's, to me at least, seems like industries are starting to join it because it can do what they want it specifically to do. And it's just exciting on my program.
And that's the beauty of our model as well. We're white label by design in Zebec, right? We don't necessarily need to be the brand on the card. Rather, we're the rails behind every card. We're the rails that connects into all of the networks. We don't compete with the chains. We enable the chains.
And you've got some pretty exciting sort of stellar news, I think, to announce or that just went live.
We did. Exactly. So as our community knows very well, we've now been working with Stellar for the past couple of months, bringing our first truly enterprise grade payroll product to market. Now it runs fully on Stellar Rails natively. All of our smart contracts and streaming engines have now been rebuilt on Stellar, and they're part of really an HR-led platform, meaning that Fortune 500 companies, the biggest enterprises in the world, would feel at home with this interface. So there's treasury management solutions in there, there's organizational solutions, expense management, and it all sits within this payroll suite that runs on Stellar Rails. So we're super excited about it. It dropped yesterday on Monday, and we're now going to be bringing some of our enterprise clients onto this product and making further announcements around that.
So I remember a few days, maybe a week ago, that the DTCC hooked up with Stellar.
Mm-hmm.
And now you guys are working very closely with Stellar as well as of a
Yep,
couple days ago, like Monday, you said, I think. Wow, that's so
exactly.
Stellar, very serious use case. You guys are watching my program. Stellar now is starting to become a giant. So let me look at more of these questions, unless Jim has one.
Yeah, I love this question. So this came from someone in the actual community, and I think, especially for people that are trying to get a bit more of an understanding of, okay, you've explained what Zebec is, but how do I actually? What's an example, I guess, that would make sense for me? This question actually came from one of the Crypto Hulk audience, which is this person owns a hotel. So I guess feasibly, how could they actually use Zebec today to start paying their staff? What would that flow look like? Maybe not from so much from like the enterprise side, but more so like if I'm just sort of a humble hotel owner, how hard is it for me to start integrating Zebec within my daily payment flows? And is this something that is pretty easy for my employees as well to actually get set up in?
Well, look, it's going to depend on the type of onboarding that we're looking at here, right? If they want to go with a full payroll solution, I recommend they speak to our enterprise team. They'll get them set up through a simple KYB. So meaning the company is going to have to put some of its information there. It's then going to have the option of either funding its payroll with stablecoins or connecting a bank account in which we can then use the APIs to convert the US dollar sitting in the bank account into USDC or any other stablecoin of choice. From there, we load up the employee information. So we'll go to the business owner and we'll say, tell us, your employees' names, their emails, their employee IDs. Tell us how much money they need to make every single month. And then our engine will calculate how much in terms of funding would need to come at the beginning of the month or every week, however they choose to fund it. And from there, the engine runs itself. And if you want to program the frequency of pay so your employees get paid every single day or every single hour, it's totally flexible through Zebec. And then when those employees actually start to receive the money, they have the option of connecting their own wallet to it. But if they're not crypto native, they can use our built-in Privy wallet, which is an incredibly simple to use wallet as a service product, of course, offered through our partnership with Stripe. And they can then on and off ramp money through that wallet. And they can also connect the Zebec MasterCard seamlessly to their payroll wallet. So if you're getting paid on Friday, you don't have to wait until Monday for it to hit your bank account and go spend it. At a click of a button, you could move that money onto a MasterCard. You could pay your expenses over the weekend when the banks are closed. So that is the beauty of our model. It is truly 24/7. It requires very little from the business owner to actually get on board, and we can get you up and running in the matter of days. It does take a little bit of education on the employee side, but once employees understand that this product gets them paid faster and cheaper than they were getting paid before, it's a very easy sell. And we usually see our share of wallet with these employees increase with time.
Yeah, that was going to be like a kind of follow up minor question on my end is, I guess, how much positive reinforcement have you had from the end users about this? I imagine it's terrific. If you're not crypto native, you're probably initially quite skeptical of a solution like this. But then, as you mentioned, the benefit of not having to wait, half monthly or even monthly for a lot of people, get paid in real time. For a lot of people today, especially in this kind of economy, it's actually really important for how they operate. So have you had a lot of that positive feedback that I guess has given you that validation for Zebec and what you're building?
Absolutely, especially in the US, where there's much more of an interest in getting paid quickly. We've seen a lot of really positive feedback from employees, and in fact, grown share of wallet expanded into other divisions of the business. Now in Europe, there's much more of a culture of getting paid once a month, and people are a little bit more, I would say, frugal with their finances and how they manage their money. But in Europe, we've actually seen really good traction from government benefit programs. So one of the things that we're going to be going live with in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned on that, is we're going to now be using Zebec real-time payroll to distribute government benefits in certain European countries through enterprises. So this is an incredible use case of our technology because these are smaller payments that don't make sense necessarily to go through the traditional banking system. So we're running pilot programs on government benefit disbursement. And from there, I would expect to see us grow into more traditional payroll as well once employees are comfortable with using stablecoins.
Question. How does having no regulation, no crypto regulation in the United States really anywhere, like we don't have crypto laws, we're waiting for this Clarities Act, is that slowing down your guys' growth?
Without a doubt, 100%. I mean, we are one of the biggest proponents of the Clarity Act out there. It's a matter of time until it will pass. And at that point, there is no excuse or any resistance as to why you wouldn't want to use stablecoins.
Okay, interesting. Okay, Jim.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot going on. It sounds like you've got a lot of partnerships. You're trying to grow. How do you prioritize, I guess, yeah, like product development, partnerships versus, I guess, your ability to grow and for more people to use Zebec daily? I guess, how do you find that balance between the two things is something I'm always interested in because as Hulk said, look, we do a live stream every couple of weeks and we go over a lot of the main partnerships and things going on in the crypto space. And I always find it interesting the balance between working with other protocols and businesses and seeing how there's a benefit between the two and just genuinely trying to grow your use case within the different partners and potential different clients out there. As you said, sort of in Europe now, you're looking at sort of more government body clients. How do you find the balance between those two things?
Well, I would say our product function as Zebec is very sales led. So we build what the market is asking for. So the market was asking for an upgraded enterprise dashboard with more bells and whistles that work for bigger companies. We knew we were working with Stellar and some of these other larger blockchains, so we built towards that. And 2026 for us is all about product development. We had the desktop super app come out earlier this year. The mobile super app is in development and nearly ready for release. So those are our two retail products. So that makes the card experience, that makes basic payroll streaming, that makes token staking all easily accessible in your pocket through a mobile app. And then the enterprise side, it's all about payroll for us. So that's the enterprise payroll product that went live with Stellar. We're going to be expanding that to more blockchains throughout the year, many of which I've teased, but I won't say any more today. And what goes hand in hand with that is actually our corporate card program. So our corporate card program is going to be coming out later in the year. And this is a way for businesses to actually issue their own stablecoin backed MasterCard, which links directly to their payroll and treasury. You'll be able to issue cards for employees and contractors, set spending limits, fund those cards with your treasury. So we're essentially building an entire financial ecosystem that runs fully on Zebec rails. You don't have to work with traditional banking apps, right? When you have a Zebec payroll suite or a Zebec super app on your pocket or on your computer.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, I definitely can experience or appreciate that given how we operate internally a little bit at Caleb and Brown as well. So, yeah, love that. Hulk, did you have any sort of final questions or anything else that you wanted to ask Simon?
I don't think so. We're just excited to learn about the developments. And when I look at my news every day, if I see a Zebec article in there, I'm telling you, man, we're talking about Zebec. We love the project. We're excited about it, and I'll just look forward to seeing you guys growing